Alright guys, this is Hayden with iBroke here. Just checking in. We have a customer's phone. It's giving us a hard time, so what we're going to do is we're just going to video some exchanges. We're going to start with the dock exchange, the charging dock here. We've already replaced it during our troubleshooting process, but figured that this would be a good time for a tutorial. So you're going to want to start by removing the two bottom screws. The one is already removed, and we have this one here, your pentalobe screwdriver. The best thing to do is to just keep your screws together as you take them apart, so that way you don't lose anything. The easiest screw to get messed up is the one for the battery connector here. If you lose that screw, it's hard to find one that fits that section, so you can always use one of the bottom screws from the phone. They seem to fit. If you use the Phillips head screw for the battery that goes in the bottom instead of the pentalobe, it will look more original. So here we go. We've removed the screw from the battery connector. You want to get a non-conductive prying tool and pry up the corner gently. One of our most common repairs is the iPhone 4 battery connector replacement, so just be careful when doing that. Alright, now we're going to remove the battery. It's coming up pretty easy because we've already been in there. Usually it takes a little bit of extra pressure. So today we're going to remove the dock connector and replace it with the customer's original dock connector and continue the troubleshooting process. Alright, so we're going to start by removing the plate cover on the dock connector flex, and that would be here. There are two screws. They are different sizes, so make sure you keep track of what's what, and that little plate comes off pretty easily once you get those screws out. Alright, I'm just going to gently pry this up. Again, be careful with the connectors, they are fragile. They'll pop right off the motherboard. If that happens, there's not a whole lot you can do. The next thing you want to remove is the antenna. I'll zoom in for you. Okay. So this piece here, it's right above the speaker assembly. At this point, there's no electricity flowing through the board, so it's safer to use a metal tool, and you just want to pop that up very gently. Alright. The next step is you want to remove the two screws on the speaker assembly. There's one on each side. And these screws are different sizes as well, so make sure that you keep them together. This speaker assembly does have a magnet in it, so it's good for keeping track of your screws. Just set that off to the side. Alright, now you have your dock connector. There's a little bit of adhesive under the flex here. The home button is clipped in here, and your microphone cover is here. All of these are going to need to be popped out. I would say let's start with removing the home button. Okay, and you just want to gently pry that out. So that way the home button doesn't get ripped when you pull the dock connector out. Okay, now you want to pop the microphone cover back. And then there's two screws, one on each side of the charging dock itself. You want to remove those. Just dump those screws out. They're really small, so be careful. Alright, now your dock connector is set to just pop right out. I would say just use a little bit of pressure to get that adhesive up and just kind of work it. If you have to force anything while doing these repairs, you're doing something wrong. Everything is designed to fit perfectly, so I would say just take your time and move slow. There's also a little bit of adhesive on this side. Okay, so we're going to remove that. This is actually our part. You're going to also pull this this microphone cover off as well. It's okay if it rips a little bit, just try not to rip it too bad. Alright, now we're going to put the original back, and this is the original here. You want to put that microphone cover back on. The tip of the microphone cover is facing away from the gold piece. Okay, and you'll know what that is when you look at it. It's going to look like that when you're done. And now you're just going to set it back in here in a way to where the home button cable goes back over top of that connector. You're going to just angle it in that way first, and then just kind of press everything down in place. And you want to go back for those two screws that we removed for the dot connector, and you want to put those back in right away. They're pretty small, so you might have a little bit of trouble getting them back in the hole. But once you get one started, they're pretty good. Pretty easy to work with once you get one in. Okay, now you want to take a small pair of pliers and you want to gently put that home button back in its slot. Push down and tuck that ribbon cable back in the slot there, and then fold the jaw connector down. Alright, and for the microphone, you just want to kind of fit that tip in the receiving area. Just like that. Alright, so recap on that. 2 screws, home button, jaw connector, and microphone cover. Alright, to reassemble, we're going to work backwards. We're going to put the speaker assembly back in, angle it towards the frame, and then push it in. Be gentle when reconnecting this antenna wire. And you want to fold this back. You want to put this cover back as well. And like I said, remember there's 2 different size screws here, so be careful. And for instructional purposes, we're going to stop here. Just remember to put your battery back in, screw your battery back together to the charging port here. Make sure you don't forget your antenna cover that goes underneath the battery connector, between the battery connector and the motherboard. We're going to be using this phone to show you guys another repair. We're going to do the ear speaker replacement next.